So we did a drifting game tier list earlier, but this time it's only free games. And the first free game is Initial Unity, which is a Toge and initially inspired game. Very arcade physics, does not support steering wheels, no car damage, but the graphics are pretty decent for a free game. The car models look good, and the cars do have badges as well, which is very rare to see in games nowadays. Ideally, you want to play this with a controller, but you can use your keyboard as well. Now, how much content is there in Initial Unity? Well, the main thing is improving your score on Toge runs, and you'll basically be just doing like time attacks. And all the Toge tracks you can either choose to run in daytime or nighttime. It's up to you. Now, if you're tired of playing alone, then you can actually battle against real-life players. But we are moving on to the next game. Game number 2, Live for Speed, the free version. Now, before you start yelling in the comments that it's not free, put your keyboards down, let me explain. On Live for Speed website, you can choose between free game download or buy additional content. So yes, the game has paid upgrades available. This paid upgrade will allow you to download mods from the in-game repository, kind of like in BeamNG, but it is not required. I tested drifting with the free cars. Yes, they have very low horsepower, but you can absolutely drift in the free version. And you can also access online as well. As for the game itself, it has really good drifting physics, and they are actually pretty realistic. This game has really good steering wheel support as well. Live for Speed, by the way, came out in 22. Like, some of you watching weren't even born. And after all of those years, the game is still alive, still active, servers are up. But enough about Live for Speed, we're moving on. Game number 3, Asphalt 9 Legends. It has a free PC version and it also has a mobile version. Now, the physics are completely arcade, and to drift you basically have to hold down one button, so it's pretty easy to drift. But I did notice quite a few in-game purchases, which after a few hours of playing will restrict your gameplay a lot, unless you start paying money. But for an hour or two, you'll have a blast in there, trust me. Now, the graphics for a free game, pretty impressive. This game, however, on PC does not support steering wheels, but keyboard or controllers do work. Now, a little tip for you. You can absolutely make any game work on a wheel if you use Xbox 360 controller emulator, but you will never have force feedback if you emulate the controller on a wheel. That's the downside. Now, what's impressive is that this game has visual car damage as well. If you take down an opponent, you have like this slow-mo cinematic shot and you see their car getting damaged as well. Looks pretty dope. Kind of like back in the day in like Burnout 3 and Burnout Paradise. Now, game number 4, Roblox. You can't not mention Roblox. The Roblox games are free. A lot of drift games to choose from, a lot of content. Some of the drifting games actually have really realistic physics. For example, Wall Tap. As for graphics, most Roblox games look awful. And now I'm gonna do a really hot take, okay? Which a lot of you will disagree with me. So you guys praise the graphics of Solitary, and I don't understand why. The game colors look awful. There's like almost no colors at all. It's like a black and white filter most of the time, or it just kind of looks like brownish. The only good side of graphics in Solitary, in my opinion, is the car models, which they do look pretty good. The physics of Solitary are not the worst. I'd say better than most Roblox drifting games, so I can understand why it's so popular. But in terms of graphics, like, I don't even want to play Solitary because the graphics, the weird filters it has on. But guys, it's a personal opinion, okay? Only one person's opinion. Bob's. Okay, I put... Guys, don't blame me, blame Bob. Please do let me know if you disagree with Bob's hot take, okay? If possible, give us reasons as well why you think Solitary looks better than most drifting games. I just actually want to know, because maybe I do gotta get my eyes checked. Anyway, next game, number 5, Overdrift Festival. And yes, there's a free version out. On their Steam page right now, they have a demo version of the game, which I think should be called a free version. If I hear demo, it's restricted access to the game's content itself. But in this free version or demo, what you want to call it, it doesn't restrict your content. What it does is it doesn't save your progress, and you can play online as well, which is it's just mind-blowing. So I do really respect game developers that do demos this way. Now anyway, the physics are good, pretty easy to drift on a keyboard and even on a controller. Graphics are good, but nothing too impressive though. Wheel support also good. Honestly, quite an underrated game, and I don't don't know why. There is not a lot of players playing it. In fact, online player count is always very low whenever I've checked. Please let me know. I'm genuinely interested. Why hasn't this game gained traction? But we're moving on. Number 6. Inertial Draft Sunset Prologue. Now this game came out in 2020 and it has a very unique style to it. Kind of like a retro vibe and future vibe combined. Now the drifting is very odd. You turn and control sideways with 2 different joysticks. And audio, let's talk about the audio. Audio is pretty good, both in terms of car sounds and music. Now sadly, this game does not support steering wheels, but it kind of makes sense. It is simply too arcadey for that. Now something really cool about this game is that it has split screen, which means 2 guys in a single room can play that one game at the same time. I feel like more games should have this split screen option. Now as for the gameplay depth, after a while there will not be much content to do for you in the game, sadly. You'll try out all the tracks, different cars, and you'll slowly forget about the game and kind of move on. Which we are moving on as well to the next game, number 7, Japanese Drift Master. Now before you start yelling, the game is not fully released yet, which is good because now we can play this game for free. This is a proper demo version and I'm gonna include demos as well because demo you can actually get it for free and you can play it. Just trust me when I say this, you have to play the demo version because I don't know for how long the demo is gonna exist. Get it. The graphics look insane because it's built on Unreal Engine. The details in the city are astonishing, okay? It has AI traffic cars. The map does not feel empty. Just so many details that I just find myself driving around slowly and just looking around and just being mesmerized. There's drift events. They have like chill drift tracks as well. As for wheel support, yes, this game does have wheel support, and in first person view, if we turn 900 degrees, then in the game the wheel also turns the same way. This game does all of it, okay? So that's pretty impressive. Right now we only have 2 cars in the demo version. It's the AE86 and the Nissan S15. Now as far as car upgrades go, you can even throw on white body kits, get stretched tires, add a rising spoiler if you want, put a carbon hood on, all that crazy stuff. Now when it fully releases, it won't be free, boys, okay? And we don't know the release date yet, so definitely try out the demo while you still can. It is worth it, trust me. Game number 8, Downtown Draft. This is a completely free-to-play game. In this game, you are drifting in first-person view through the city while the cops are trying to take you down. Now, it gets a little bit creepy and dark, kind of like a scary vibe to it, I guess. Definitely will get your adrenaline pumping. And if you do crash or when the cops ram you, your car actually gets damaged. You can even lose your doors or your hood. Definitely a game worth checking out at least once since it is free. Game number 9, High Octane Draft. Now, this is an interesting one. The game graphics look old school. They look bad, but I don't hate them. However, the physics are not good and the car sounds are horrible, literally worse than Roblox. It has keyboard, controller, and some limited wheel support as well. Now, while the base game is free, you gotta pay with real money to access a lot of the stuff in the game. However, you can play online. You don't actually have contact with other players as well. You go through them like they're ghosts, which is kind of disappointing. Since this is free, I'd suggest checking it out. So hopefully you found a game or two to try out on this list. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. Like and subscribe, and as always, stay sideways. Peace!